You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
Holy shit, does this feel like a big game or what? It's the Wednesday edition of Leafs Morning Take presented by Bet365. Nick Alberga, Jay Rosehill. Leafs Red Wings, game 2 of a 5-game homestand. What's up, Rosie?
Ooh, it's redemption day. Yeah, I don't understand how they have a 5-game homestand when all they've played is at home. Like, are they just going to finish her off with a 3-week road trip or what? But like their home record, they need to redeem themselves at home and against these Red Wings. So it is an undercover big one. I think we're going to have a lot of those down the stretch.
It's funny. I was in the press box the other night. I forget who made the remark, but the biggest sentiment as to why the Leafs got caved by Minnesota, who I called it yesterday, bent over backwards over hoops for the Montreal Canadiens to blow that game with 15 seconds left. But I digress. Was because a lot of the guys came home and had a to-do list to do from their wives. Could you subscribe to that theory?
A honey-do list?
Yes, exactly how it's presented to me. A honey-do list, yes.
Oh, God. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Where do these guys live? They live in apartments and stuff. I don't know how much can they be done. There's no lawn to be mowed. I don't know what the hell it is. It's an adjustment, though. Yeah, I don't know. You'd think that could work the other way, right? You're on the road. You're living out of a suitcase. You get home. It's good to see the family, play with the kids, go to the park with them. Whatever your story is, get a little bereavement from the grind, and you should be ready to rock for that home game with a good, clear head, if you ask me. But I don't, again, I said yesterday, I don't remember that being a thing, dropping the ball on the first home game back from a long roadie, but you seem to have it patterned out and it came true. So it's hard to argue with.
Oh, man. I'm watching the game last night, Minnesota and Montreal. I'm like, how do they go from looking like an all-star team to that? And the Habs skating circles around them. And just for good measure, Montreal was tight that game only because Jakub Dobeš was like up and down the way his season has gone, and then Caulfield with 15 seconds left. Then the other storyline that Habs fans are pissed that their star players are not going to the Olympics. Like for me, if it was the Leafs, I'd be like, great, 3 weeks of R&R. They can chill, have a couple beers, get set for the stretch drive. But Habs fans won't let it go. Habs admins won't let it go. They're all pissed at Bill Guerin. Caulfield wins it yesterday, but we all knew it was going to happen. Minnesota wouldn't play as good as they did on Monday night, and it happened.
Yeah, I know. I mean, let's give credit where it's due. Montreal's looking pretty good, but I agree that they didn't look like they did against us. The Minnesota Wild is what it is. These points, man, I mean, we're lucky that the teams around them botched their games as well, so we didn't lose a lot of ground. We're looking at Boston right now, a game in hand. You got to get that game and get tied with them in points for the last wild card spot, and you want to put together a little bit of a run like this scratching and clawing. You can't lose one, win one, lose one, win one. It's not going to cut it. You got to go on a little bit of a run and get 6 at 8 points somewhere, and you got to put someone behind you and keep them there. It's the one thing that's kind of cool for us is that, like, I like standing watching every single night. Who won, who lost, everything matters. Every game, you dissect it, you prepare for it, you figure out what the ramifications of every win and every loss are. It's weird to be doing it this early, but it is what it is. It makes it a little bit funner for us, but it's intense, man. And you're going to have a lot of these Wednesday games that are going to feel like, almost do or die.
I know you're watching the highlights. Did you catch that penalty Lane Hutson got last night?
I did not.
Oh, go back and watch it after this podcast, dude. He was like feet away from this guy, like a sniper got this guy in Minnesota. He went down. They called Hutson, and then the ref actually apologized. Thank you to producer Vic putting it up. So Hutson got 2 for this. Look at that trip, Rose. Look at that. That ever happened to you in your career? And then the ref apologized after. How would you feel about that?
There's been things before where it's like, hey, I missed that one. And I think a guy got caught on a mic saying, hey, I owe you one there. Yeah, and everyone freaked out about the ref saying, hey, I owe you guys one there. And everyone's like, it's rigged. It's like, dude, they say that often. Like, hey, I butchered that one. I owe you one. If there's a close call or something, it'll go your way the next time. There's nothing really wrong with that. He's admitting that he screwed that up. And it's hard to be a ref. I've said that I've reffed like kids games, like at practice, I'm like a coach ref. And it's like, God
Yeah.
damn, it's hard to watch everything and get on the line and figure this out. And was that, and where was his leg when it's kind of hard. It's easy when you're just standing and watching. Every call is simple, but it's kind of tough to know a guy throws his hand up like that because a guy trips on the blue line. Like, I just wish the refs would err on the side of letting more go. And they're erring on the side of calling friggin' everything, man. And you end up with silly calls like that where they embarrass themselves. I don't know why they err on the side of letting a little bit go. It would save a lot of hassle, a lot of pissed off players, pissed off teams, pissed off fans. Let a little bit more go than you call. Everyone's kind of calling for that as far as fans and everything else. I'm sure the players would agree too. Let us play a little bit more.
My brother in hockey podcasting, there was nobody in the vicinity of Lane Hudson there. I don't know, man. All I could think about watching that highlight, Kerry Fraser, 1993, could only imagine if he went to that Leafs bench and apologized for that. Cost him a fucking cup.
Oof. Potential cup. Wayner, Gilmore. That's one of those ones that'll live in infamy until they get a cup under their belts, man. It's not just that one. There's a lot of stuff like that in Leafland, and that's why these fans are the way they are. I kind of understand it, to be honest with you.
Our Super Chat charity partner is Sick Kids. Want to make sure that your question or comment gets on the show. Hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the #1 research-intensive children's hospital in Canada and 3rd in the world. So we talked a bit about Anthony Stolarz, now on a conditioning stint with the AHL's Marlies. And I was curious because the Marlies don't play till Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But then we find out yesterday, later in the day, it was more for extra practice time. So how did you interpret all of that? Do you think this guy's even close to playing games for the Maple Leafs, or they just have the long game in mind here?
No, I think he's close. By all accounts,
Yeah.
he is. And I mean, think about the Leafs schedule right now. Think about what's everyone talking about: the grind, the wear and tear, the schedule, the injuries. So their practices are not high tempo. They're not intense. They're not long. These guys are getting out there, going for a little bit of a twirl, a little bit of a sweat broken, touch the puck, get a few reps in, and get the hell off. That's not real conducive to a goaltender trying to ramp up to NHL speed and get his bearings. So I totally understand going to the Marlies. I would be surprised if he didn't play a game, to be honest with you. I'd like to see what he looks like in a game situation at the pro level. Let him feel good, see how he recovers, see how his body responds, and take it from there. But I do think they're trying to get Stoli in sooner than later. I think it sounds, by all accounts, like he's close to being ready, and I understand putting him down there to get the higher intense, longer practices that you're not really going to get with the Maple Leafs right now with the schedule. So we'll see. I'd be surprised if he didn't play a game, though, to be honest. Like, why not play the Friday game? We'll see where it goes. But
Yeah.
I understand the practice side of it with what I can imagine the Leafs schedule is right now, not really getting Stoli what he needs to ramp it up.
I know we've had this debate, and I believe I saw it on social media via an insider yesterday, that I think the plan, at least right now, is to have Hildeby go back to the American Hockey League as opposed to have a 3-headed goalie monster. A lot of teams are going with that right now, and I get that decision. But for me, this is only reinstilled that you can't go ahead and trade anybody right now. Like, Joseph Woll looks gassed. Hildeby's still growing and learning, and you're hoping Stolarz can stay healthy. Like, I don't know why you deal from a position of strength right now, especially knowing what we know about this position, not just in Toronto, but across the league. Like, every goalie's hurt every third game, man.
Yeah, they sure have trouble staying healthy. Yeah, I mean, in my mind, it's pretty easy. First of all, you got to wait and see how Stoli feels. I think you got to give him a game, see how sharp he looks, see what he feels like afterwards. And if all systems are go, then you've got Stolarz and Woll. Those are your goaltenders. I know that the cap isn't up against the ceiling like it has been in the past, where you have to make a move before you activate somebody. So that's kind of nice. It gives you some breathing room. But at the end of the day, if Stoli and Woll are healthy, then they're your two goaltenders. I think you say, hey, Hildy, thank you for what you've done. You've been amazing. You will be back. You've been a huge part of this. Our season has playoffs in question and as potential because of you. You easily could have thrown your American League goalie in there for the amount that he's played, and you wouldn't even be in the playoff picture right now if he didn't do what he did. So he's probably going to go down to the Marlies with a ton of confidence, with a huge experience, and he's going to have taken a huge step in his pro career and be ready to do it again. And I imagine that if it is Stoli and Woll, they could look at the schedule, say, okay, here's a time where if we're switch hitting our goalies, someone's going to need a break. You bring Hildeby back up the night before. He's at he's on the team, he's in the room, he's at practice, he's with the boys, he sleeps again, wakes up, pregame skate, he's on the team right there. You can pick it up like nothing. You walk down the hallway of the Ford Center there. It's really convenient having the Marlies right there, and he could jump in a game to provide some relief for these guys here and there. It's nice being able to go back and forth, be so close, have waivers exemption. I imagine we will see him again soon, even if he goes down to the Marlies here. I can't say enough about what he's done and how he's played and the confidence that he has given Leafs fans. He's a big part of the future, I imagine. And I don't think any moves are going to be made or anything like that, and at least until we know that Stoli and Woll are the two-headed monster again that can handle this crease. But again, even with Woll right now, there's talk about him feeling depleted and tired and, hard to stay focused and hard to have your sharpest game. So if that starts to look like these two goalies when they are back, Hildeby's right there in the weeds waiting, and he's proven to be more than capable.
Man, the one thing that has changed about this organization is their depth in the crease. Like, I don't know if you saw, but your boy Artur Akhtyamov, the Russian in the AHL, was named an all-star, which I thought is pretty interesting. He's 15-7-1, but dude, he's got an .899 save percentage and a 2.9 goals against. And you play in the American League. I guess it's different when you quantify who's good and who's not, right?
Well, I mean, to be an all-star in the American League, in my mind, you're playing at an NHL level, right? Those goalies down there, there's lots of goalies that would be in the NHL if the system or if the situation was different. I mean, you're only with your team, and there's only two goalies on the team. So there's tons of players that are as good as some of the goalies in the NHL, the backups, who could play, and they're just as good. And it's those all-star type of goaltenders. I remember playing where, Tim Thomas is down there, and Corey Schneider, and there's goalies galore that are phenomenal, and they're just waiting for their opportunity, as it's a different situation, and there's limited guys that can play between the pipes. So that's great to hear, to be honest. And if it gets to the point where, we have Hildeby and Akhtyamov and these other goalies, that's where you kind of have these opportunities to make a move if you do think that you need to make a move. But I don't see that happening until right before the trade deadline, where you look at those standings and say, are we trying to make a move here, or are we just holding course and seeing what happens? So be interesting to see what Tree does, but it's an unbelievable problem to have when you're deep in the goaltending position. You look at other teams around the league, it's just like, we would be good, but we can't get a save. And I mean, that's such a killer to a team where you do all this work and you have these systems and you got chemistry with these guys and you got these stars and they're in their prime and these new contracts, and then your goalie just can't make a save, and you're just simply losing games left, right, and center because of that. It becomes an absolute, it trickles down. It's hard to have confidence. You don't want to say it. That position is so confident based that you can't really call the guy out, and it just makes it worse. It's brutal. So it's unreal that we know what it's like in Toronto to have a goaltender that's not cutting the cheese, and you're not sure how he's going to play, and your wins and losses depend solely on whether the guy brings his game or not. This just hasn't been the case in Toronto lately, and it's a breath of fresh air, all right.
Meantime, it's official. I have Nazem Kadri trade fatigue, man. He has been linked to the Maple Leafs yet again, this time by Darren Dreger of TSN. Among the teams linked to Kadri, who still hasn't even told Calgary if he wants to go, but Toronto, Montreal, Colorado, the LA Kings. I would throw Dallas in there. He's also got a 13-team no-trade list. Do you care? Because I don't. I don't see it happening. This is the 15th different player on the Calgary Flames linked to the Maple Leafs since Treliving came over. It's not going to happen. I'm fine with it. I've moved on. I don't need to talk about it. Do you?
Well, I don't think it's going to happen. So that's why, I mean, if you put Kadri on this team, I think that would be awesome. I think it could help out a lot in the depth on the forward, but I think if they're going to make a move, it's going to be on the back end. They're going to be looking for an offensive defenseman. And even that being said, they don't have assets to give. Like we already know that. You're not getting Kadri for what Calgary is going to want, regardless of the relationship between Treliving and the Flames anyways. There's going to be other teams out there that will offer more and that will take Kadri and that will get that thing over the finish line. I would be absolutely shocked if it was Toronto.
Shocked.
Yes, they could use them. Yes, we could use that grit and that center depth and that experience, but I just don't see it happening. Even if we didn't need a D-man, first of all, I don't see them getting that over the finish line where everyone else is like, we can't match that. Like, what the hell are the Leafs going to offer that's going to get him away from there?
The only way Kadri comes back to Toronto, if he tells Calgary, hey, I'll go, the only team I want to go to is the Maple Leafs. But I don't see him doing that, especially when you look at those two specific teams in the West, Dallas and Colorado. If Kadri's realistic and he's like, I'm going to uproot my family again, I'm going to go to one of those two teams. I'm sorry, taking nothing away from the Maple Leafs. I'm sure he loved his time in Toronto. How about a reunion in Colorado, the best team in hockey who are going to win the President's Trophy? You got a rabid dog and Nathan McKinnon and Cale Makar, and you've got the crease cook in there. That's the only way I see it, because you hit the nail on the head. There are going to be teams that have way better packages. To me, I think Toronto's thrown in there to just jack the price up. We all know we're going to talk about it, but I don't see it as a possibility. I mean, there's been a lot of pushback when I've asked around in general what the Maple Leafs are going to do between now and the trade deadline. I do think Dougie Hamilton's an option. It's going to have to fall in their lap. It's going to have to be like massive salary retention. I think the problem now with Hamilton too, he's playing better. He's picking up points, so the price is going to go up, and maybe he priced himself outside of Toronto too. And who knows if he wants to be a Maple Leaf? Like I don't know about you. I don't expect much prior to the deadline, and honestly, I'm fine with that, man.
Yeah, I haven't been, hoping for something. How depleted the cupboards are with the deal they've already made to really give up the future for this year, when, let's be honest, we don't know what this team is, and we don't even know if they're going to make the bloody playoffs. Imagine giving a bunch up and taking a big swing and you don't even make the playoffs. Like, why on earth would you put yourself in that position? I think that it's going to be a last minute type of thing. If you can get something over the finish line right at the 11th hour with the trade deadline looming, and you're in a good spot, say you're 2-3 points in a playoff spot and you're clear and you're playing well and people are getting healthy and you're saying we're ready to rock. I feel good about what's going on. The vibe and the culture and everything in the locker room is phenomenal. Everyone's firing. Everyone's figured out the system. We know who we are. We're ready to rock. Then maybe you make some kind of a last minute play if you can snipe someone that you think will make you a bit better. Okay, but other than that, it's not going to be this breaking news on February 2nd. The Leafs it's just not going to happen. There's too many variables, too many question marks, if you ask me. I just think we're linked to everything, A, because it's the Leafs and it's the market and it gets the eyeballs, and B, Tree Living just loves kicking tires. And he's talking to agents, he's talking to GMs, and that word spreads out through the hockey world, and people are like, oh, the Leafs are interested. But I mean, we know that Tree loves kicking tires and talking to people and checking in and doing that type of thing. He's a very active GM. So I'm not surprised we get linked to this kind of stuff. But I absolutely am not holding my breath for any big deal to come across the line.
Does scare me, though. I think the one team that can do it is the Montreal Canadiens, and I believe Kadri grew up a Habs fan. They have more assets than any team in this league. They have draft picks. They have stud prospects. I think they can do it. Cap-wise, it'll be a bit of a hustle, but I would look out for the Montreal Canadiens in that scenario. So I hope at least he stays in the Western Conference. Imagine Kadri goes to Montreal and the Leafs get in, and it's like Habs and Leafs in the first round. You're like, fuck, this guy's going to torture us, isn't he?
Yeah, that'd be ugly. I'll be honest, man. The Habs, they look good. They are coming. They are going to be a problem in this division for the Toronto Maple Leafs for some years to come, to be honest with you. I haven't really dissected their contract situation, but I feel like oftentimes there is a window where you develop your players, go through a rebuild, and once they get to the point where it's like, look how good we look, then it's contract time, and you can't stay under the cap, and there's got to be a lot of gymnastics being done to make things work. But I think they are pretty good cap-wise. They are pretty good contract-wise, and a lot of their guys that they've developed have done exactly that and developed. They look like they're having fun there. Marty St. Louis, what he's done, I hate to say all this. I want nothing but the worst for the Montreal Canadiens. Yeah. But they look good, and you just got to respect the fact they went through their rebuild. They got a coach in there that had a plan that everyone bought into, and they look sharp. But it would be interesting to see them in a playoff series for sure. It would be sitting on the end of the couch for every single shift. It would seem like, just praying to get the best of those pricks.
Yeah, it pains me to say, like, they've just set such an encouraging precedence for that fan base and that market in that team in Montreal, started by Jeff Gordon and the GM Kent Hughes, where it's like, you want to be a Hab, you're not making more than this price tag. Like, I believe Noah Dobson makes the most in that team at 9.5 sheets. They got Caulfield for 8. They got Suzuki around that number. They got Hudson at a good price. And that allows you to do other work. Like Philippe Deneau comes back. He scores for the first time in 51 games. That guy's won so many crucial face-offs. Like, they scare me. I'll be honest. They got a lot of prospects. I think the next move for Montreal is a blockbuster trade. Nevertheless, we get set for this Leafs-Red Wings game. Speaking of which, Zach Phillips will have After Dark for you after the game, so make sure you check that out right here on our YouTube channel. Also coming up in about 10 minutes, an old buddy of mine from my days at Sportsnet, former draft pick of Detroit, played a season with the Maple Leafs back in 15-16. Shawn Matthias is going to drop by, and he was telling me yesterday he watches our stuff. Awesome to hear, man.
Hey, right on. Yeah, there's a guy, 550 plus NHL games and a stint with the Leafs back when, things weren't going awesome and they were kind of going through their dog years, which they've had many of, but it'll be good to see what he thinks from an outside perspective, as he's got some experience being in that locker room.
At the Leafs Nation 401 on YouTube, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Crave the Stats. It's a presentation of Uber Eats. Every time the Leafs play at home, you can get these exclusive deals only on Uber Eats. Firehouse Subs, Bogo Brisket Hatcher, Kibo Sushi, Bogo California Roll, Shelby Shawarma, Bogo Traditional Wrap. Before, during, and after the game, Uber Eats is assisting every fan's hockey experience all season long. And it's kind of interesting, Rosie. When I look back at this season in a couple months from now, I'm going to circle 3 games against Detroit, at least 3 of the 4. We're going to see the 4th here tonight, where it's like you play Detroit 3 times and you pick up one of a possible, 6 points. And you wonder where this team is in the standings down the road. And I'll circle those games for sure.
Yeah, there's been, I mean, that's why people were getting their arms up when they came out of the gates losing early in the season. Everyone's like, it's early. Well, we know it's early, but you put yourself behind far enough and it's a long road to catch up. And you look at our division, you see what Tampa's doing. Boston's better than people thought. Buffalo's better than people thought. Detroit's better than people thought. And it's like, good Lord, it's hard to chip away points on a good year, let alone having to leapfrog all these other teams who are ahead of you. It's just hard. And yes, you look back and you're like, well, Detroit was better than we thought. They're emerging as having a team that's put it together a lot better than I think people anticipated. Good for them. But it's hard not to look back at all of those dropped games, all those losses and those points that just went by the wayside, where if we just had 2 or 3 of them right now, how much would that change? It's devastating to lose as much as we did at the beginning of the season. And I mean, that's where the frustration laid, where so many of the fans and us, and we're like just furious at it because so many of them were there for the taking. If you just wanted to exert a little more effort, a little more try, get mad, be emotional, be passionate, do fucking something. They were so flat and so uninspiring for so long. It might still be the end of their season. It might cook them for this entire year. And when we see them doing the right things, playing the right way, I am all about the team. So it's just that Jekyll and Hyde of how the hell could nobody get that thing on the rails sooner than they did. Yes, it's nice that they're not completely out of the picture and we are just struggling to put anything together for these shows. And what are we supposed to talk about? And we're just sick to our stomach from this team because they're cooked. They're not there. That's what's fantastic about it. I still do believe they're going to get in the playoffs based on what I've seen. But, man, they made it hard on themselves.
They need this one tonight, plain and simple. And if they can get in regulation, that'd be huge. They're 8 points behind Detroit, 1 game in hand, game 2 of a 5-game homestand. Since firing Savard, they're 9-2-3, 2 regulation losses in that past month. So not too shabby there. But I think the one thing I have noticed here is the special teams has tapered off quite a bit. Yeah. The power play, 2 for 12 in the last 5 games. The PK has surrendered 5, penalty or shorthanded goals, I should say, in the last 5 games. So I think defensively is where I'm looking at. Like, if that's going to be the recipe to success moving forward, defensively, it starts with the goaltending, but it starts with Team D too.
Yeah, and that's what they need to clean up on. You wonder which way it's going to go. Last game, their D did not look good. They didn't look good at all. And there's been it's honestly, it's kind of few and far between, with the exception of a guy here and a guy there, where the whole decor has looked bad. I think they have some good leadership there. I think McCabe holds it together well. OEL has been fantastic. Carlo did not look good last game, but he has been solid where you don't notice him because he does his job so well throughout a game. You need to get back to that. You can't let this back end start leaking oil. You can't let this be a pattern. You can't lose your confidence back there. You can't lose the connection with your partner. You got to get things back on track. And if they play a good shutdown game and have their stuff and are moving the puck with authority, confidently, finding the right guys, keeping it to the outside, using the glass when needed, getting it over the blue line, just doing all that peewee stuff that you need to do to have success in the NHL, I think they'll be all right. But this can't go backwards. We got to get things back on track, on the rails, and going in the right direction, like now.
Joseph Woll is going to start this game, back-to-back games with 5+ goals surrendered. He has looked fatigued. This is a big one. This is a big moment in the season for Joseph Woll to bounce back, especially everything we just discussed with Stolarz being on the men, getting closer. Like they need a big night from Joseph Woll tonight, Rosie.
Yeah, they do. It's in there. I don't know. I hope that last game there was their night off against Minnesota, right? Minnesota looked phenomenal start to finish. They had their number. They deserved to win. There's no excuses. Okay, that's your night off. You lost the 2 points. You could have used them. People around you finally lost, and you could have, taken that jump and gaining 2 points on everybody. You didn't. Okay, shelf it. Now get things back on the rails. That starts with Joseph Woll, right? We know how good he can be. He's usually fairly consistent in his play, and you can rely on him. It's just injuries that have plagued him. So I'm looking for him to get things back on track, have confidence, and start this game the right way. Give these guys a chance.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I shit on the Yzer plan for a long, long time, and it just seems like everything's coming together for that team this year. Like it seems like Yzerman's been there for 15 years, and there was a lot of doubt and people wondering if his job was on the line. But man, they've really turned a corner, and we're going to see that Edvinsson again tonight. Mo Seider's having a big year. Like they've built from that blue line. Even there's a pathway in the crease. They got Sebastian Cossa, who's in the AHL. He's been unbelievable this season. Crazy record, crazy stats. He's the future. But even like the John Gibson trade has worked out for that team. Like I didn't expect Detroit to be this good, and I think they're legit, man. Do you?
Yeah, I don't think anybody did, but I mean, they're kind of an afterthought being at the bottom of this division so much, and everyone's like, what's wrong with them? And you just write them off as, they're shit, they're not putting it together, but they have weapons in there. Like you say, they've got themselves covered, and they have dangerous players throughout their whole lineup. And if they just put it together and understand how to play together, it was a matter of time until they figured shit out, unless things went really south. And it appears like they've done that. Maybe softening the blow of like some of the losses we've already had against them the previous 3, especially I just keep standing out that home and home back to back where they were just awful. Or the Leafs were against them. So yeah, they put it together. They've got weapons. They're a good team. They're playing well, and you're going to need your best to beat them tonight.
At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button as we bring in today's guest. Played for the Maple Leafs way back when. Great NHL career. It is Shawn Matthias. Shawn, I was going to ask you firstly, great to see that face and that mug, buddy, but what did the Red Wings organization look like when you were drafted by them way back when?
Well, thanks for having me, guys. It's I haven't done one of these in a few years. So, yeah, the Red Wings, I mean, to get drafted by the Red Wings back there, it was just like, there was a lot of like clout, right? Because they were so respected for how they drafted. Like you heard about like how they got Zetterberg in the 7th round, Datsud in the late round, and all these guys. So, I mean, I kind of jumped up the draft board. Like I was kind of on no one's radar at the beginning of the year, and then at the end of the year to get drafted by Detroit, like instantly, like everyone's more interested in you because they were just so good at finding like the diamonds in the rough, right? And so I felt like my stock grew a lot just from being drafted by them. And then you go to camp, and there's some amazing prospects there. They put guys more in the minors for a few years to develop. It's kind of how it was back then. More of that, but they were really like, you could spend your first 3 years and on your 4th year trying to make the league instead of how it is today. So, and then you're going to camp with guys that are like Datsud. And I think my first day at main camp, my line mate was Zetterberg and playing against Datsud, and I'm like, I should probably not be on the ice here, guys. Like, this is a little bit above my pay grade, but seeing those guys in the weight room and just seeing how classy that organization is, and also old school back there with a lot of grizzled vets, and it was fun. It was.
Oh, we lost him.
That was a quick snap on that one.
Yeah, I probably got a phone call. We'll get Sean back in the mix here. But yeah, it's cool to hear those tales and stories from like back in the day. I think we have Sean back in the mix here. Sean, we can get to this game. I know we lost you there for a second, but I wanted to ask you, I know you watch this team very, very closely, and we'll get to your days as a Maple Leaf too, but how do you reset after an ugly one the other night against Minnesota?
I mean, you're going to have bad games. I mean, the team's been playing better. They're obviously just outside of the playoff points there. I think they're 2 points out of the wild card spot there. So they've been playing better as of late. I mean, you're going to have some nights. That Minnesota team, they're so good. Like they're a really fun team to watch. Getting Hughes was crazy. Garen's done an amazing job at building that team up. I mean, they're a great hockey city too. They love their hockey there. It's kind of weird to see the World Juniors not having sold out barns there. You would have thought Minnesota would be packed and crazy. So, I mean, it's a tough one, but you know how it is. You kind of got to have a short memory in this game. You're like, you're going to do your video, you're going to do all that, you're going to talk to your coaches to figure out your mistakes and all that, but you got to keep kind of plugging away here. They're in the second half of the season now. Every game matters so much, so you can't dwell on the past. You got to, get back on the horse and just keep on pushing.
Yeah, and being where the Leafs sit in the position they've put themselves in, I mean, we find ourselves standing watching every single morning and evening, checking out who won, who lost. As a player, did you like to do that? And do you think that's healthy to do at this point in the season?
Yeah, you want to be aware, right? I mean, it's also good to kind of have a short memory and kind of get away from the rink and not think about it. But you're in the second half here. It's like all business, right? You know how it is. Like the 20 games, it's a little bit lighter. You get through camp. You're kind of first like 10 games a year. You're kind of finding your way still, and it's just no more time for that. You start getting a busier schedule in the second half. You don't get like 5 days from game to game like you might at the start of the season, right? You're kind of running on full cylinder now. So it's like you don't really have that time to kind of, not be involved, right? You got to be doing your video. You got to be taking care of your body. You're getting more broken down at this time of year. So you got to really be managing what you eat, your sleep, your fitness still. So you got to be all in. And I think it helps you when you're paying attention to all that, right? If you're not, it's kind of like, what are you doing it for? Like, this is what the main goal is, to like get to the playoffs and win a Stanley Cup, right? So at this level, you got to be all in, and you got to take your time to kind of reset your mind as well. And, put your show on, sit on the couch and whatever. If you got family, go to your kids' hockey and forget about yours for a bit. But you do got to put some time and kind of watch everything unraveling here, I think.
Man, we've been discussing ever since that Minnesota game and even prior to it, that dreaded first game back from a road trip. Do you remember or recall those at all? I know Rosie's pushed back and said back in the day he didn't even think about that aspect. But for some reason, it just seems like a scheduled loss. Like everybody in the media, and I'm sure people around the team just figured it would be a tough night at the office, and that's exactly what happened against Minnesota.
Yeah, I think like the hardest games back is from like an all-star break or the Olympic break when you got a few more days
Why is
off
that,
and
Sean?
maybe you probably weren't treating your body too well during the break, right? Having a few too many cold ones around the pool or something. So, but yeah, I mean, whenever you're on the road and you're playing another rink and you get a like passionate fan base that's yelling at you, like I used to hate going to Philly. It was fun, but it was like the fans were so loud and so aggressive, like coming through the tunnel, and like it's kind of funny, like you gotta have thick skin, but they're going at you, right? They're ribbing you pretty hard. And I just remember, like, if you got, if you're sensitive, like they're coming for you. So it's all part of the business. You got to learn to prepare. It's tougher when you're young because you're learning how to play in this league, an 82 game schedule. But once you got a few years and you kind of figure out what makes you tick. Like anytime you play a back-to-back game, though, those crank your legs pretty hard. Like that's when it's tough, I found.
And you got the chance to play for a few different organizations, some high market ones and some a little bit less so. But you got a chance to play for a year in Toronto. You're from Mississauga. What was that experience like? Do you wish you got a little bit more time with the Leafs?
Yeah, I would have loved to play there for 20 years, right? But it was special. I mean, I met with the Leafs before the July 1st date, and had an idea that was a team that I might go to. And I kind of, the boyhood Leaf fan in me just came out. I was like, that's where I want to go. That's where I want to sign. I knew Babcock from Detroit from being drafted there, so I'd met him, and I met with him before I signed there. So I liked what he was telling me. I learned a lot from him. Stuff I teach hockey here and there still to this day. So when I go out, I'm teaching things Babs taught me about puck possession and how to use your body. So I learned a lot while I was with the Leafs. It was amazing experience. Just wish we won more games and could have been a part of a winning Leaf team, but it was really special to just wear that jersey for sure.
Yeah, if I recall, you were traded to. Go ahead, Rosie.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask about Babcock. I'm just curious, guys that did play from him, was your experience with him like overwhelmingly positive?
Yeah, he was good with me. I mean, he's hard to play for. He expects a lot. His systems are hard. Like I was trying to explain it to some players this morning about like he was all about like taking time and space away, killing gaps. So it's a high compete type of system when we were playing it, and it can be, practices were hard. Like we're always competing, but yeah, I mean he's tough on you. But he was good with me. I had a good experience with him. But I mean, it was his first year there too, and he was pretty positive and handled the media, I thought, well for us. So I had a good experience with him. My first camp in Detroit, I figured out how scary he could be. I didn't have any sticks. I went there with no sticks. I was told I would have sticks there, and when you're not a signed guy and you're just like one of the prospects, just one of quite a few, they don't have sticks for you with your name on it, right? So I had to go through camp there with I think it was Schneider stick, like totally different curve and flex, and first couple days, and I couldn't lift the puck. So I had, in the rookie camps there, you have the AHL guys, AHL coaches that go on the ice with you, right? So he stood behind the glass and pointed at every corner after practice because he didn't think I could shoot a puck. So the AHL coach is like, man, he doesn't think he can shoot. Like, you got to show him your shot. I'm like, I can't shoot. I can't raise the puck with this stick. I can't figure it out. So he'd be like behind the net pointing at each corner until I hit it, right? And he'd just say nothing to me. And then finally I got my sticks and I'm ripping it. I'm like, you see this, And finally stopped doing it. But he can be hard on you. He's hard on guys. And I had my own individual meetings with him where the pen and paper came out, and I felt like I was being scolded in elementary school a little bit. But I did learn a lot about the game and about being a pro, and his structure and his how organized he was for every meeting, and everything was top notch, like top tier.
The bigger question, did he ever ask you for your phone or what?
No, I didn't see any of that. So that's a crazy one. That's just weird, man. Like, I don't know how you do that. So no, I never gave him my phone or anything like that.
That's good to hear. It was an interesting time, obviously, in Leafs Nation. As I brought up, you were traded to Colorado, but do you feel like you played a hand in getting Austin Matthews to Toronto, man?
Yeah, that's my claim to fame. That's what I tell everybody about my Leaf career. So I helped you guys get that #1 pick. I helped Florida with a few years with some high picks there too. We got Barkov the 1 year at second, and we actually came last, so we should have had would have been Nathan McKinnon, but Barkov, he worked out pretty good for Florida too.
Yes, it takes a village, doesn't it? It's all part of the process there with these teams that aren't doing so well. But Marner is coming back to town. Obviously, they had a look at him in Vegas. What do you expect to see with Marner coming back to town? The Boo Birds were out pretty heavily from the Leafs fans that were in Vegas. They obviously got their number in at the last minute there. Frustrating game for the Leafs. What do you expect for the emergence of Marner coming back to town?
I expect to see a nice tribute video for him right before the game, and be nice to see all the fans salute him because he was here for a long time and he was a huge part of the team for all those years. So be nice to see him get his, I hope the fans applaud him well and he gets a nice tribute there back in his old barn there. But I mean, once the game starts, I'm sure you're going to hear the boos and the players are probably get tired of all the questions about Mitch and him being away now. You can tell Matthews is a little tired of all the questions, but I'm sure it'll be an emotional game for him. He grew up a fan here, played here for a long time, so he's going to be, wanting to win that one and having his best game. So hopefully the boys can be ready and not make it too sweet of a night for him.
Part of me still hates him. I'll be honest. The guy ran away from his issues. He could have been a hero, and he was treated like a god here, but didn't want to be here. Anyways, I digress. More to come on Marner later this week. But you played with Morgan Riley, right? Like it's been an up and down sort of career for Morgan in Toronto, and I always say it's tough for me to rip on Morgan because I just think he's such a consummate pro and a good dude. But it's obviously part of the job. What are your thoughts on where Riley's at? What was it like to play with him in Toronto too?
Yeah, he's a great skater. He's a great teammate. But he's been here for so long, right? Like this is a hard market to play in, and he's been here his whole career. And a lot of guys aren't. How many years is that now for him? Like it's got to be around 16, 15 years in Toronto, something like that. So, yeah. I mean, to play in this market and do it as a top D pairing for this long, I mean, kudos to him because he could have gone somewhere else and not dealt with all this media craziness. And he's also taking a lot of good deals for the team too, right? When I was playing with him, he signed a deal with Lou Lamoriello signed him to one, and it wasn't the average on that was below probably what he could have made, right? And then he signed another pretty good ticket there a few years ago. So I mean, he's never been greedy and holding out, and he's always been a good team guy, and he seems to be great in the locker room. He was when I was there. So I mean, he's been a great piece, but he's been here for so long. I mean, that's tough. So I don't know.
Yeah, time will tell. We talked about the standings earlier on here. Obviously, it's going to be a dogfight to the finish line here for the Leafs with their future up in the air. What's your prediction? Do the Leafs find themselves playing into a playoff spot this season or no?
Hope so. It'd be nice to see. I mean, I think you saw for so many years we got kind of making the playoffs wasn't a problem anymore, right? We were just always there, and they were building towards something, and then you lose a guy like Mitch Marner. The D last year I thought looked great. I don't think they've looked as good this year. I think there's with some injuries this year and some of the guys that they signed on a few year deals, I think they can get better if everyone's healthy. I thought they were good last year. But I mean, it took Matthews a while to get going. That's probably expected when you lose a guy that he's had chemistry with for 10 years. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they finish the year here. There's not a lot of depth in the system, right? You don't have a lot of young guys you can call up to hope they can take on a big role or at least a small role for now, at a bottom six. So it's interesting to see where the Leafs are going to go the rest of this year and in the future because you only have so many years left with Matthews, and who knows if he'll sign back or not, right? So I don't know. It's an interesting time to be a Leaf fan. It felt like they were building for a few years there and really going for it, and it's just a different feel this year, I think.
Yeah, it's been an uphill battle all season long. I just wanted to wrap by asking you about somebody you also played with in Toronto. Rosie played with him too. It's Nazem Kadri. It's Groundhog Day. We're talking about the potential that Kadri could come back to the Leafs. Maybe he's on the trade block. Excuse me. What was it like to play with Naz?
What did he say a couple years ago? You don't trade the dogs. He said he tweeted something like that out, and it's true, right? He was a dog. I played against him in junior too when he was in Kitchener, and he beat us to win the championship there. And he was only a second-year player, or maybe even a first-year player that year, and he was very impactful. So I mean, he's won at every level. He's won a Stanley Cup now, and what he said, that's as true as it gets. As a fan, you don't want to see those guys go away, right? How it is in the locker room, Rosie. When you got guys like that, you feed off their energy. They're high compete. You want to match that. So he would have been a great guy to still be in that dressing room for all these years. Like you look at the teams, like you could tell Colorado was so bummed out to lose him. He was a big piece of that, and I don't think just a big piece on the ice, like in the dressing room as well. Like he's a very nice guy. He's funny to be around. I got to spend some time with him, and I thought he was quite the character. So I mean, you're missing a guy like that is huge, and like you said, you don't get rid of the dogs.
Yeah,
Rosie,
it's
anything to add
interesting. Naz is hilarious, man. He was a rookie when he came in with us, and he's got personality and swagger and does things his way, but he's a kind, good dude, and he's just developed into having a phenomenal career since back then. But it'll be interesting to see where he lands, no doubt.
All right, Sean. Good stuff, man. Great seeing that face again, man. Great reunion here. Appreciate your time. We'll talk soon. Okay, bud?
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks
Cheers.
for coming on, man.
Anytime. That is Shawn Matthias, former Maple Leaf, former Red Wings draft pick. Put a bunch of games. What, you say over 500 in the NHL? I mean, it's kind of cool to hear those stories of guys who finally lived out their dream and played in the NHL and also played for the Maple Leafs, right? He talked about how he would have loved to be a Leaf for 20 years, never mind 55 games or whatever it was, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he would have. You want to stay in a big market where things go well is obviously everyone's idea of what they're trying to do. But it's funny hearing those training camp stories, like the anxiety of having a Tortorella or a Babcock and not having your sticks in, and they give you these new gloves that are these rock hard leather things, and it's like, oh my god, and you go out there and you got to perform right now, all the eyeballs on you, and you feel like you don't have your stick, it's not your pattern, it's not your flex, you can't shoot, you're hoping passes it's awful, man. It's the thing that no one thinks about is those training camps for a guy that is not solidified on the team can be so high with pressure and anxiety and all the rest of it. It's funny, I totally related to that. It's happened to me where you don't have any sticks and you're trying to, like, the trainer's taking care of Vinny LeCavalier and you're this absolute pigeon going, I know you don't know me, but I don't have any sticks, and like, can I just go through the stick room and find something, please? It's awful. And meanwhile, you're on in 20 minutes. Like, it's brutal. So I chuckled at that, and then having a Babcock or someone like that right there just amplifies the situation. So I had to chuckle at that for sure.
Yeah, I always love when players talk about the Babcock era, and I thought he's pretty frank with us too. Like, that's the first time in recent memory I've heard somebody actually support Babcock in a way of which he coached and that he learned quite a bit. I think a lot of guys in general are probably scared to back him because of all the stories that have come out. Like, obviously not condoning the off the ice activity, but I mean, it's no secret this guy was Canada's Olympic coach, Stanley Cups out the yang. Like, I mean, there's a reason why he was widely regarded at the time when he signed with the Leafs to be the best coach in hockey. So to hear that side of it, I thought was interesting too.
Yeah, I mean, he has a lot of hockey knowledge. He understands the game very well. It's just how he went about it after a period of time. And like, for all I know, he got worse with that shit on how he dealt with the players. A guy gets older, maybe a little crustier, grumpier, has less patience for certain things, has got a taste of success and wants it again and wants it now. And all of a sudden you turn into this asshole. Very possible that happened, but there's no denying the fact that the guy knows a lot about hockey and has a lot to offer as far as the knowledge around that side of things. I just think that his demise was, after a period of time, the way he went about it was just not sustainable, especially with the new generation of players coming down the barrel. He did the opposite of adapt to those young guys.
So getting ready for the Leafs and Red Wings, some notes. Matthew Knies didn't practice yesterday. He's going to play, and Joseph Woll's getting the call. But again, full circle to this conversation today, Rosie, they just need to get the job done. For me, the pathway's simple. Got to get some saves from Joseph Woll. You need a power play goal as well, and the PK's got to be letter perfect. I mean, you're going to talk about and discuss that every game this team plays, but I think the formula is right there for them. They just got to go out there and execute, man.
Big time. That's all it comes down to. I mean, you got to put on your big boy pants. It doesn't matter if you're tired or fatigued. Like, there's just no excuses. Or do you want to save this season or not? Do you want it? You're going to have to get some hard, gritty points when you don't feel your best. And you're going to have to find ways to do it. And you're going to have to come together and make it happen. And to me, it's no secret with this team. When your level of compete is way up here, you have success, and you just don't win when your level of compete isn't there. The way this team is designed now, the way it's coached, the systems it's supposed to play, And that's the Babcock thing that he mentioned as well. You take away that time and space, you force the turnovers, you make it difficult on the opposition, and you gobble up the fruits of that. It doesn't happen if you're not prepared to move and to try and to put that effort in and have your level of compete be very high. You have to find that, whether you got to take some Red Bull or some smelling salts or do whatever the hell you got to do. Get your ass ready to play and play hard, and you can rattle off some points here. It's just a must at this point in the season. Again, I don't feel bad for them. You took a lot of nights off early in the season, so there's no excuses now. It's just do or die more often than not when we're facing whoever the opponent is.
It's time now for the last call, brought to you by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in on the game. Use code NATION. That's NATION, N-A-T-I-O-N. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you're someone you know has a gambling problem, visit ConnexOntario.ca. I'm going back to the well of last game. Give me the first period over 1.5. I expect a bit of offense in the first period. I'm going to play it again tonight.
I dig that. I'm going to take the under. I think that Wool's going to have his best stuff in rebound. I think that the D are going to pay hyper attention to being in position and boxing out and keeping things to the outside. And I think the forwards are going to dedicate themselves to doing the same and helping out in the D zone. And I think both goaltenders could be primed to have a big game. I just got a feeling about the under tonight.
Love it. We'll leave it at that. Thank you to Shawn Matthias for dropping on today. Coming up tomorrow, by the way, we talked about the Matthews questions. Mark Masters of TSN's dropping by. We're going to get to the bottom, and I don't know how Mark's going to attack the next 2 days after this one because Marner's in town Friday. Matthews doesn't want to answer questions anymore, so they're coming to a head. Masters Nation, the leader, coming up tomorrow on Leafs Morning Take, Rosie.
That'll be fun. It'll be fun to talk to him. I'm sure he'll have a good chuckle. He knows the game. He knows what he's doing. He's going to have to probably finagle some questions in there to have them interpreted in certain ways, I'm sure. But he's got a job to do. He does it well. But my goodness, I don't blame Austin for being a little tired of that as well. And it's crazy that they've still got another one to go through. Be interesting to see if the media can hold their tongue or not.
Probably not. Probably not. So that's coming up tomorrow at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Thank you to everybody in the chat. You guys are phenomenal as per usual. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Thank you to producer Vic. For Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. We'll talk tomorrow, everybody. Take care. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews. We got clips. We got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.